Hello and welcome to a new episode of M&H Breakfast Banter. Of course, Anita is here, who is the M, and I'm here, who is the H, Ron Howard. Thank you for joining us. We have a very special guest today. We could talk about a range of subjects. I'm not quite sure where we're going to end up. It's Mr. Ahmed Khalfan. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show. Ahmed has held senior positions in banking, real estate, and telecoms. Currently, he is a board member at the Bahrain SME Development Society and works at Infracorp. We'll talk about that later, but I have a very important question for Anita. Anita, what's for breakfast?
First, I'd like to, welcome Ahmed. Please,
Thank you
so much for coming in and
It's a pleasure.
sparing this time to, discuss some important things around real estate. We've ordered this breakfast from UApp. That's where I'd like to begin. So UApp is this super app which allows you to do a lot of things, including order food of it, and they're also our sponsors on the podcast. And today's breakfast is from New York Coffee, and we generally tend to like all the breakfast that comes off UApp, and they're really super efficient. They brought it before time, and here it is, all fresh and nice. I have my coffee for
Excellent
Ahmed as
coffee.
well.
Of course, you know what I have.
Of course, tea.
You don't know me. You haven't met me before.
But he's English.
Maybe my reputation goes before me.
You look at
I look
He's
like
like
a
a tea person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a tea
I
person.
take that as a compliment.
meditator.
Well, thank you for the UAP for sponsoring us. We,
Yes,
really
incredibly
appreciate
grateful.
it.
Yes,
Let's get on with the show.
yes.
So we'll start with the SMEs because this is a podcast primarily to help out and advise and give information to SMEs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say somebody wants to start or establish an SME within Bahrain. Can you please explain what support the SME Development Society can give?
Of course, the Bahrain SME Development Society was set up in 2010 as a support group that would actually provide the private sector with options to either decide to go for certain fields that they're very much familiar with and have the legal support, the accounting support, whether it is even the establishment type of period that they're going through, supported in the sense that you obviously have to have an address when you set up a company, whether you're going to need it as a physical or a virtual address. The society is there to help. We've got 5 different incubators serving different sectors, including more recently the medical sector, which is a very unique concept that allows for clinics to set up in a specific fashion. How certain buildings usually are catered to the medical sector's needs.
Yes.
And those clinics would be able to set up shop at a fraction of the cost. And we would be able to support them also, since they're under the umbrella of the society, in different types of consultancy services that usually, if you're not a member, you would probably not know where to go.
Right.
More recently, obviously, the public sector has been able to support with Temkeen, with the different programs that fall under Temkeen, and that's been proven very beneficial for the
Yes.
thousands of businesses that actually call Bahrain
Right.
home. I think I might need to also add that Bahrain, being a small market, has challenges, and the challenges are, whether it is footfall, or you're talking about how many companies or corporations can benefit from your services that you make available, just to stay afloat. I mean, this is just basically for at a survival mode.
Can I ask about that? Because there must have been more need for this during the COVID process.
Oh, absolutely.
period.
And that has been proven to be a beautiful initiative that the president of the society and the honorary chairman both were very supportive of this initiative, and we were able to guide the 1,000+ members of the society in the times that they really need it the most, through webinars and through different programs that, or let's say channels that were made available, and keeping everybody aware. Knowledge is always key, and at the same time able to go for certain types of programs that soften the effect of the pandemic on those businesses. Yes, there have been businesses that were not able to survive just because of the nature of the business itself, and what would be able to be made available by those businesses during the pandemic. But in the end, they would have had a less of an impact on them through the guidance that those different programs were made.
Are the societies? Is it advice is free?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, in the end, everything that is being offered is backed by the society itself. So I would say there is a lot of subsidization. Mostly it's covered by the principal supporter, Mr. Farouk Al-Mayed. He's the honorary chairman of the society, and there would be certain funds deployed towards different programs. But in the end, even the entities that provide the service go pro bono. So, there's a lot of cases where, it's just a matter of, they call it CSR.
Yeah.
Now they call it sustainability and, those types of, which we'll talk about that in a bit. So that allows for the businesses to make it work for them.
And how does one become a member of the SME?
It's a very straightforward application.
Okay.
As soon as you set up the commercial registration, the first membership you get would be the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And then the second one would be the society. So in the sense that both provide huge support to the SMEs, and they would allow them to really come together as a community.
Right.
And usually you might think of that as being a strange scenario, businesses that might be competing against each other, working from the same address.
Yes.
But that not how it goes. Usually you have a certain mix of businesses, and we actually look for those mixes, and they mostly need to consider the expansion plans that they would have.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, on a similar note, when you apply for a Tamkeen support, they usually want to see that you
a
are
business
actually,
plan. Yes.
and not only the local, but the one that can go on a global scale.
Yes.
And when they support that business, they want to see that has actually gone into the arena of, are you providing a channel that will allow for Bahrain as a country to be known on a global scale because of that business.
Right.
So then when you hear about Flat 6 Labs, for example, that's one of their most important components, is that who they support needs to be positioned in a way that is going to go viral, or
They usually do tech-enabled businesses because that is scalable.
That's scalable.
Yeah.
So
what about Tenmo? Is that also
absolutely a fantastic channel, a path that a lot of businesses have signed up with, and the idea is that each of them has a certain connection in the market.
Okay.
And it's always about networking.
Correct.
The society is a huge network.
Right.
So similarly, those businesses will be able to piggyback on these networks, and then they would be able to provide their services to whoever these networks are. And on a local scale, yes, you would be able to be part of a network that could cater to tens of companies or businesses. On a regional scale, that goes to hundreds. So you can imagine the scalability of a business that originally would probably only provide a maximum of 10 accounts, or let's say cater to 10 accounts, and then that goes tenfold. That's where you start to realize whether you actually want to opt for that kind of business model or not. So you need to choose which of those channels you want to go with.
Get your point. Yes.
So COVID is gone, or we hope
God
it has
for that.
anyway. So what kind of challenges are SMEs facing today and possibly tomorrow?
Interest rates are gone up. So you've got
Yes, they
an
have,
issue
yes.
with definite the liquidity on a general basis. Many businesses already don't have much options when it comes to going for a corporate facility because of the listing that they would be in. Tier 1 would be the ones that get the bulk of the financing, but when we talk about SMEs, most of them aren't even there. So that causes a
Because
further
liquidity
crunch.
is king, right? You live
Exactly.
or die by your liquidity,
Exactly.
not by how much profit you make.
Absolutely. So when you want to, again, the word comes in mind to be scalable, you have to have the capex that allows you to grow to the next level.
That's capital expenditure.
Capital
Yes.
expenditure. So I learned that throughout the years with the financing teams that handle real estate facility. And I realized that without it, you can't even start a business.
So does the Development Society have anybody there that can help or assist
Of course,
on
of course.
financing? Yes.
We actually have partnerships with financial industry professionals and businesses that would link you to the right type of bank or the right type of partner that would consider maybe the chance for that to actually happen close to nil. So by having that network, by having that ability to reach to those banks and financial institutions, you're already through the door. So when you're already selected as a potential partner in the facility that could be made available, the interest is still there.
Yes,
it's
always there.
It's always there, whether it's high or low. But unfortunately, at this stage, we are facing inflation like maybe never before, which is a concern.
Well,
but
I'm the oldest person here, and I remember it in the early 1970s.
So it might be something that you can relate to.
Something I can remember.
Okay.
Nobody else in this room can.
But in the end, the point is, there's fluctuation always. When it comes to share value, when it comes to the businesses that operate with liquidity as a major factor in their businesses, you will end up realizing that there are times when there's a potential for you to grow, and there are times where there's a potential for you to think of holding and riding out the wave and then going on to the next.
So any other challenges apart from liquidity?
Legal factors that are coming up, which are change in policy, which are, I would say, not a challenge, but it's a good thing.
We're talking about ESG then.
There are a lot of factors that are going to be implemented, which are going to allow for businesses to consider a new approach, which might cost them more, but eventually might be a better option to go for, which is a more efficient, a better future kind of world. And that way, yes, you need to build a stronger foundation. And when you talk about stronger foundation, you have to fork out a little bit more towards that foundation.
Which will bring us to our next subject.
Absolutely.
Sustainability. Unless you have anything else on SMEs.
I just wanted to know a little bit more about the SME thing, where you said that it is an incubator that
Yes.
will help out, and you were explaining to me about what all pillars it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
support.
I mean, just think of it as a everyday scenario.
Okay.
You wake up in the morning, you realize that you've got salaries that you need to pay.
Yeah.
You've got employees that you actually need to consider a ratio. We've got this concept of Bahraini nationals
Versus
having a little bit
expats,
of
yeah.
advantage in terms of their place in the workforce. So all of these factors are not really very easy for you to
Yeah.
figure out. I certainly didn't know what any of this meant until I started a business.
Yeah.
And that's when shock and awe, everything was a surprise. Everything seemed to be sort of like hidden. You need to really figure it out on your own, ask around, favors, it didn't make sense. So in the end, when you start to figure out that the fact that in order to support the community that allowed for you to reach to this kind of intellect, with the education that's provided, with all of that, you start to realize that giving back doesn't have to be always in the form of cash. Who are you going to be paying? So the idea is in your knowledge, share knowledge. So allow for people to realize, they wake up in the morning, they have a business, what are they going to face? What are the challenges that they're going to have? Legal factors, I always read in the newspapers every day, this company or that company, there's a lawsuit against them, or they filed for bankruptcy and they probably didn't know that was going to happen, until the last minute. Why the surprises, So it's better to learn from the community that you're in.
Yes.
And from that, you'll be able to work together to further develop and have a better life and have a better
More
future.
sustainable a business, actually.
And more of a sustainable
Yeah.
business. I learned the hard way, and I'm sure 99% of the people who are in the business or in the market, they learn the hard way.
Yeah.
But you can only learn from experience, really,
True,
can't you?
true.
Yeah.
In the end, if you don't have mistakes, you wouldn't have lived in the
But
first
if you
place.
have the access to something where you're getting mentorship, you're getting guidance, then definitely you should go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a course. Just imagine a course, a training program
Yeah.
that you attend when you first get the membership,
Hmm.
and you're there and you realize that, oh, wait a second, I don't have a legal representation.
So then what do you do? How do you go about
You get insurance.
Mhm.
Okay. What insurance?
Exactly.
Why would I get insurance? Oh, you learn the hard way if you don't.
Understood, yeah.
You have losses.
Yes.
If you have losses and the market is, there are players in the market that you will be partnering up with,
Yeah.
but they're after the money in the end.
Yeah.
So what if it doesn't work out? You're insured. Okay. I never knew that was the case until I learned from the society's experts.
Okay.
And
didn't know either.
there's so many different. There's a 50,000 dinar sort of like cover
it?
for. Did you know?
No, I did not
Right.
know. Yeah.
So
it's news to me.
And how many years you've been in the market? Many years, right?
8 to
Why
9 years.
doesn't she know?
Why doesn't she know?
It's not I really didn't know.
No,
That's
no,
the question.
No, critic. No,
No, I
criticism
understood.
of you.
Understood.
No,
How would
absolutely
she
not.
find
No, but I
out?
See,
really
this
didn't
is
know
the-
that information is even available to
There is no.
access.
That's the thing. If you don't have, look, I love to be, sharer of knowledge when it comes to anything that I get. This is why, and I think we were mentioning earlier, like me being sort of like a blogger, right? And the reason why I do that is because whenever I get information that's useful, I immediately put it out. If I thought it was useful, I put it out. I love those stories on Instagram,
Yeah.
because they they're
quick,
there, but
yeah.
they disappear after
Yes.
24 hours, which means that their validity or their usefulness is only for that period of time. Maybe they could be more permanent. But the idea is that why have we not been able to become a society of knowledge sharing? Or why do we seem like we are not sharing enough knowledge? Is it a language barrier? Is there a sense of, I'm not going to tell my neighbor because that's going to benefit them too?
I don't think that's the case.
Which
I
sucks,
think
because that's not going to be
No,
a
I
fun
don't
thing
think-
to talk
no.
about.
I think it's just that people haven't realized that this information could be useful to someone else. You're sitting on a gold mine and you just don't know that it could help someone else. I think that's the thing. There's no common platform where people can come and do this.
Could be. I mean, there is that digital platform that we're all very, starting to get familiar with. Of course, the fact that the e-government has gone in many different directions,
Yes.
trying to put everything in one place.
Yeah.
But in the end, if you look for the information and the knowledge that that is needed for you to survive, it shouldn't be that hard for you to find it.
Yes. Don't.
Okay, let's move on to InfraCorp. I see on the website it provides social, physical, and energy infrastructure for
Exactly.
today's economy.
Exactly.
It's part of or set up by Gulf Finance House.
GFH Financial Group actually has 4 pillars.
Right.
Well, this is one of them.
Right.
Real estate. The other is technology, which we talked a lot about today, and continue to do so. We actually get into the app world. So, you buy an app and then you can sell it off after making it more successful.
Yeah.
We've got the education sector, and also we've got a pillar that focuses on the health sector. So looking at all 4, the real estate was not enough for us to just say it's bricks and mortar. It's the new era of sustainability,
That's
of energy.
the word I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
So we all talk about sustainability, and I'm not sure everybody knows what it actually means. So I've gone on the internet. Development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Business strategies and practices that promote the long-term well-being of the environment, society, and the bottom line, because that's still important.
Yeah.
The ability of firms to respond to their short-term financial needs without compromising their ability to meet their future needs.
So future, present, looking at both together,
Community.
realizing realizing the fact that you are in every strike of a hammer, you realize that could impact the next generation. So how can you make it a positive one?
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
Because I see from the company accounts that you have a project called Harbour Row. I'm correcting that, yes. Can you explain how that project will be sustainable?
Basically, when you look at a development that is as large as Harbour Row, in a location that is as strategic as the Bahrain Harbour, you need to know where does the notion of being sustainable come into play. First of all, when you are in a seafront location, you have to have access to the sea. Okay.
That makes sense, yes.
Previously, that was not the case. When we were actually developing, it was something that you need to physically develop into a marina.
Okay.
So that has been an addition now that we have considered as a sustainable approach in the location that we are at. Why hasn't it not been available prior? Is because it was in the process of getting it set up that way. So I mentioned earlier that neighborhood, the location that we are referring to, was the most important trade point that Bahrain had. It's called in Arabic the Farda. So it's basically where the boats would commute, and they would actually drop off and pick up the goods that are being traded between countries. And Bahrain was actually a huge hub in the region in the previous decade, if not more, century, if not more.
Yes, yeah.
So the idea was when we set up as a master plan, when Bahrain Harbor was created, it was created for the future. The reason why we were building this, yes, bottom line was important, still is, but what we're doing is we're combining different components to make it sustainable. And those components are as follows. You start with the residential component because you are serving one of the main basic needs of people. You have the marina concept, which is serving the commuting part side of things because you're on a strategic spot. You have the commercial side, which everybody knew was, always known as the Bahrain Financial Harbor.
Yes.
So you've got, the largest set of towers for office space requirements. You've got the hospitality side of things, which is the fourth component, which is very important as well, because you're then serving people who are actually visiting with the hotel component that is being put in. And the last but not least is the retail and F&B component, which is the added value that you get out of the neighborhood.
But what makes it sustainable? Is it the materials?
Everything.
The energy?
So basically, at first, when you look at the energy that is being utilized here, did you know that this is one of the very few locations that have district cooling as a infrastructure? So district cooling is not available in other parts of the country.
I don't even know
what
what that
is. Mean?
It's almost like a science fiction movie.
District
like how
cooling?
Amazing it's developed. You have a factory of centralized cooling systems that allow for lower
consumption
cost on the
energy.
And then the energy itself, when it's shared between the buildings, your bill drops.
Okay.
So what I would pay 100 to 200 dinars a month towards, and that also costs the government the energy that is needed to supply the electricity and the water.
Yes.
We got it down to a fraction of that.
Okay.
And the way that we did that is we invested heavily on the infrastructure. You have pipes that go under the streets and they reach to the buildings and they feed all of the units in an equal and efficient manner. So this is the sustainable component that in the future maintenance would be reduced, consumption itself on a month-to-month basis will be reduced. All of the tenants and landlords that own or live in Bahrain Harbor, the master plan itself, specifically in Harbor Row, will tell you that is what they have experienced over the past year.
And in terms of the marina side, which you have,
yes,
which is a part of that project, do you do anything to sustain the biodiversity there?
I will show you something that you will really be excited about. Maybe I'll explain it better, but there is a very unique concept that has been applied where you both are adding to the general areas sea life, which is the coral that
Yes.
really
It's
grows
unique.
unique and
Yeah.
becomes part of the neighborhood and what we are known for. And that's through the organic, let's say, placement of certain items across the canals and the areas there. And on top of that, we have a very unique sea cleaning concept and technology, where it has not been done before. It's very recent that you actually have a way that the neighborhood would actually receive certain type of service that cleans up the area. The sea gets cleaned up by these machines that we have in the location itself, and those are actually attached to the marina.
Okay.
Those different devices are costing us a lot of money, but at the end, we're doing it in order for the location to be a sustainable and beautiful neighborhood to live and to work at.
Does this give you a competitive advantage also?
It always will. The fact that we are the only workable and efficient marina in the area, you won't believe the amount of requests we have been getting from the seagoers, the ones who really appreciate being in Bahrain, an island, and to be looked at as a
premium sort of an address to be at.
Absolutely, and a very important commuting service that is there.
Okay.
So I'm sure that many of us, including myself, like I don't really go out to sea much, but if I had this as part of my life,
then you would.
I would in a heartbeat.
Yes.
The current scenario, it's there, but it's
it's sort of a passive
out
thing.
there.
Yeah, it's a very passive thing over here to go
Absolutely.
to the beach. Yes,
it's out there. It's you need to go and you need to going after it.
Yeah.
If it's right in front of you,
you'd go every day.
You'd go every day.
Yes.
During the building, you're using subcontractors, I imagine. Do you expect them to be sustainable? Do you audit their systems?
I see that's a bit tricky because of the fact that when it comes to sustainability, the main factor here is the design of the master plan. Talking about the specific items that are used, it's difficult for me to.
I accept that. Yes.
And that's why I'm saying.
Because you're not in procurement.
Exactly. I mean, in the end, they definitely will be looking for biodegradable material. They will be looking for insulators and certain type of technology that allows for less energy to be used to heat or to cool the property. So that in its own needs to be looked at prior to the procurement factor.
Asking, yes.
That's the point. For me, I would always say that, why would I really care about tempered double glazed kind of windows? Is because it's going to be easier for me to cool this room if I had that.
Instead
window.
Of increasing the AC capacity and things like that.
It's not the actual window that I would say will be the thing that will be sustainable. It's the purpose of it being there. Same scenario with the weight of the construction.
The
so if if you are going for heavier material, you will need a stronger foundation. So you need a stronger foundation. The development of that foundation will require more energy. And in order for you to more energy, you have to burn more fossil fuel, or you need to.
Yeah.
So that's where the sustainability comes into play.
Yes.
Do you have other competitors that are following the same
Of course.
strategy?
Of course, when we announce, as soon as there is an award for such a development, we announce why and how. We see quite a few developers follow suit,
Which is a good thing.
which is a fantastic thing.
Because you're setting a benchmark.
You're setting a benchmark. You're aware that you need to be a big player in this part of the business, and that you are serving the community and for the generations to come.
Do you think the government is likely to follow this up with regulation?
They have actually been ahead. They are ahead. And the fact is, we learn from different government outfits that have, of course, the capability and the know-how to get it started, to start to push it out into the market. But the unique factor of where we are as a master plan, freehold development, freehold neighborhood, tourist zone, all of these factors allow for Bahrain Harbor to be the epicenter of most of the let's say attempts to become as sustainable as possible and futuristic in mind.
When will Harbour Row be likely completed?
It's actually completed. There has been certain sections that are being like further developed more and more, but the Harbour Row project within the Bahrain Harbor development, we were able to hand it over successfully to the investors and the buyers. And now there has been over 50% occupancy. But the fact is, maybe your question as to when it will be completed, I would always say there's always room to.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the idea, we have got 3 new paddle courts, beautifully done. I'd really encourage going for a game of paddle.
I do play paddle.
You do? That's
yes, even at my age. Yeah.
It's a beautiful sport.
Yes,
I have to say.
Play in Dilmania.
Very nice. There's also some of those ones around the neighborhood. But the one that we are very proud to have completed in the Harbour Row corner plot location. You have.
Yes.
So those are additions. We've got the Harbour Garden, which is on the podium of Harbour Heights, which is the neighboring development, also owned by Infracorp and the group. And what we do is, we add more facility, whether it's outdoor or indoor, to the community that lives there. So that in itself is sustainability, because who lives in a place that doesn't have landscaping? It's very difficult. You have to have that in order to be sustainable, in order to have that certain lifestyle that you aspire to have.
And who's showing more interest? Is it the residents of the country showing more interest in your project, or people from outside of Bahrain?
That's a very, very good question, because that trend has shifted quite a few times. And the pandemic, it became much more local, just because of the fact that the available, let's say, audience was in Bahrain.
Right.
So that became a trend during 2020 and 2021. So whoever bought during that period of time were the citizens of Bahrain. More recently, I've noticed that has shifted a bit. But in the end, we always look at the numbers of the nationalities that live in the neighborhood. And we're talking about 35 now.
35 different types of nationalities. That's nice.
But the trend, yes, it's majority GCC. And then there's a smaller group in the different nationalities, or with the different nationalities that work and live
Yeah.
in that area. So I would say thanks to the 90 plus companies that are
A part
in
of
our
GFH,
backyard,
yeah.
we noticed that out of the 20 international banks that operate in the Twin Towers of the Bahrain Financial Harbor,
Yeah.
and because of the fact that there are government entities that also bring in quite a big crowd
Yes.
from abroad for the types of endeavors that they get into in Bahrain, that allows for our community to be such a melting pot, and that makes it such a different setup than many other neighborhoods.
Yeah, it sounds cosmopolitan.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's the description I would call it.
Yes.
I would have.
So sustainability for SMEs is the way to go then.
Sustainability for SMEs is the way to go. And the reason behind it is because the more you have as an infrastructure, the more you are blessed with a brighter future. So let's say you don't have roads. There are cities built around worldwide. You do have places where there is less infrastructure than what we have here. We take it for granted because we see it every day.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Air conditioning. How would I be able to supply all of this energy and whatever? So the more you become sustainable, the more you allow yourself to live a luxury lifestyle
Responsibly.
Responsibly, I was going to say, is even a better description as what I was going to say, with less cost. So if you're responsible, you will always look at how am I going to reduce energy consumption, effort, and impact on this
environment and climate.
planet that we call home. Ultimately is the answer.
Yes.
And material is not always the solution.
Yes.
There needs to be the process that
more efficient.
as being more efficient.
Yes.
So all in all, we are big believers of being efficient. Even when it comes to time, it's the most precious commodity that anybody would ever have.
Completely
ever.
agree.
And when it comes to construction, if you take time, it will cost everybody
Absolutely.
just more and more.
Yes.
Of everything.
Yes.
So we try to deliver on time, if not sooner. We try to make sure that when it comes to master developments, townships, neighborhoods, hopefully cities in the future, InfraCorp will be a sound partner that will allow for those partners to flourish in the projects that we work together on.
Excellent.
That sounds really, really promising.
I hope so.
Yes.
Thank you for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
A lot there.
Thank you so much for having me.
And it wasn't a very easy subject to discuss, might I add.
I would say that as far as businesses are concerned, there's a very beautiful roadmap that is set up that only allows for the go-getters to make it and be successful.
Yeah.
And please, allow us to help out and to support. It's not an easy thing to be an entrepreneur. Whoever is doing it is taking the path least
of maximum resistance.
Of maximum resistance.
Yes.
And the fact is, for them to do that shows their character, and it's a way for us to give back as a society, and to make sure that whoever goes for this path is supported. From InfraCorp's standpoint, it's a multi-billion-dollar outfit.
Yeah.
The company is new, but it has decades of experience as far as the team and as far as the projects that are cross-continent. And I'm very proud to be a member of the company from a headquarters standpoint, being Bahrain.
Excellent.
And wishing everybody the best, and thank you again so much for
No,
your
it's our
time.
pleasure.
It was really an
Thank you.
interesting
So how can
conversation.
they find us?
Oh, yes. So
Didn't
thank
have
you all
chance
for watching.
breakfast.
I know,
And and you can find us on Instagram at mhconsultants_Bahrain. I would also recommend that everybody should follow Ahmed Khalfan on Instagram, because he really gives out a lot of interesting and very useful advice. I myself follow him, and I've been following him since I've known him the last 2 months or so.
Thank you.
And please also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is MH Consultants. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank
Thanks.
you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.